Hello and welcome. Today, we're diving into something that trips up a lot of people in scientific writing: verb tenses. It might sound like a tiny grammar detail, but trust me, getting it right makes you sound like you really know your stuff and helps build trust with your reader. So let's break it down section by section.
Come on, be honest. Have you ever been staring at a sentence, maybe in your methods section, just completely stuck, wondering, should this be past tense, present? We've all been there. And it's an incredibly common hurdle, not just for non-native English speakers either.
And here's the thing, it really matters, because even if your research is totally groundbreaking, mixing up your tenses can make the whole paper feel a bit sloppy. It can actually undermine your credibility. So getting this right is all about making sure your writing is just as strong as your science.
All right, so we're going to tackle this just like you'd read a paper, section by section. First up is the introduction. This is where you're setting the stage for everything that's about to come.
Okay, so in your introduction, you're kind of doing two things at once. First, you're stating established facts, things your whole field agrees on. For those, you use the simple present tense. But then, you also need to talk about previous research that led up to your study. For that, you use the present perfect. It's the difference between saying, "This is a known truth," and "Here's what research has been done so far."
So check this out. The sentence says, "Furfural inhibits." It's in the simple present tense because this is treated as a general scientific fact. It's just how the world works, according to our current understanding, so it lives in the present.
And here, you can see the present perfect doing its job. The progress has been made. See how that connects the work done over the past 30 years directly to the present situation? It's like building a bridge from everything that came before right up to the doorstep of your own study.
Okay, let's move on to the method section. This is all about what you did. The tense here is actually pretty straightforward, but there is one little exception that you've got to watch out for.
The golden rule for methods is simple past tense. Your experiment is done, it's finished, so you talk about it in the past. And you'll usually see it in the passive voice. That just means the focus is on the action, not the person who did it. It's not "we did this," it's "this was done." It just sounds more objective that way.
For example, a bioreactor was autoclaved. Perfect. The action is complete. It happened in the past, and the star of the sentence is the bioreactor, not the scientist. It's a clear, objective report of what happened. Simple as that.
But wait, this is where a lot of writers get tripped up. While all your actions are in the past tense, there's one really important time when you have to switch it up.
And here it is. When you refer to your figures and tables, think about it. As your reader is looking at your paper, that figure or table is right there on the page. It is there. It currently shows the data, so you always write "Figure 1 shows" in the present tense, because you're pointing to something that exists for the reader in that very moment.
And now for the big reveal, the results section. This is where you show everyone what you found. And just like the introduction, it involves a little dance between two different tenses.
So here's the deal. For your actual experimental findings, what you observed happen, you use the simple past. The glucose concentration was depleted. That event is over and done with. But when you explain calculations or what a table is showing, you switch to the present tense. The best solution is very similar because you are presenting that interpretation to the reader right now.
Almost home. Now we're at the discussion and conclusion. In these sections, you're not just reporting anymore, you're interpreting. You're explaining what it all means, and your verb tenses have to reflect that shift in thinking.
This is where it all comes together. You're going to use the past tense to quickly summarize what your study found. Then you'll switch to the present tense to interpret those results and talk about what they mean. And finally, you'll use the present or even the future tense to suggest what should happen next, for future research.
Whew, I know that was a lot to keep track of, so to make it easier, we've put all of those rules into one simple guide. Think of this as your cheat sheet for getting your tenses right every single time.
So let's do a quick recap to lock it in. Your abstract, simple past for your results, introduction, present tense for facts, present perfect for background research. Methods, always simple past. For results, it's past tense for your findings, but switch to present tense when you refer to figures and calculations. And finally, in the discussion and conclusion, you'll use a mix: past to summarize, present to interpret, and future to look ahead. That is your complete roadmap.
See, mastering these little rules isn't just about being a grammar nerd. It's about communicating your hard work with clarity, professionalism, and confidence. It's about speaking the language of science fluently.
So, you've got a handle on the when of scientific writing. But what about the who? We touched on the passive voice and how common it is, but is it always the right choice? Let us know what other secret rule of writing you want us to tackle next time. Thanks for watching.